Yes, welcome to another 31 Days of Horror 2017. Where's the poster? Toronto After Dark Edition, yes. Yes, so let's get on with it. Here we are, talking about a world premiere of, I believe, a Canadian film called Impossible Horror. Wow, what is there to say about Impossible Horror? Well, it's directed by Justin Decloux, who had previously done a film called Teddy Bomb. I have not seen it. I don't know if you have either. But this is a, what would you call, a very micro-budgety indie horror type flick, to the nth degree. It has, I don't think anybody in the film is, you would know. I don't think they've been in anything previously. I think they're all, you know, new faces, new people. And the film is, what would you call it? It's kind of like a psychological thriller, supernatural thriller, kind of a surreal journey into the bizarre. Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, but that's not to say it isn't good. The film is about a girl named Lily, played by Haley Walker, who is essentially, she's a filmmaker. She's kind of going through some insomnia, having a creative block. She can't figure out what to shoot her movie and stuff like that. When she starts hearing this scream outside every night, and she decides that A, she needs to help this person, and B, at the same time, there's some filmmaker inspiration, something she has to film that drives her to this. And while out looking for this, this source of this scream, she runs into Hannah, played by Credence Wright, who is like a veteran scream hunter, if you will. This may seem weird because normally you just say, well, you follow the scream, you go on the thing. But see, this scream is not just a regular scream. It's not just somebody in trouble. It is supernatural. It is otherworldly. It is set in the bizarre. It has different rules and things and clues, and it is this mystery that you have to take the clues and put them together and follow the path, and that's why you have to be a scream hunter. It's you just can't find it like this veteran scream hunter Hannah has not. She's looking for the scream type thing. So it's not just something you can do, but they decide that together, if they team up together, they'll be able to solve this scream thing that's going on. And essentially they, eventually discover that the source is maybe, not from this world. It's not just somebody screaming. It's something driving its victims into madness, and that the whole point of the scream was to lure people in, and that they are now the next victims, type thing. And like I said, this is micro budget, very, very indie. And as you know, they call her a filmmaker, and you look at her films, and they're very what I would call film school like. If you've watched any films come out of a film school, or gone to a film school and watched, done a film, and things like early, Clive Barker's first works, David Lynch, all these early thing, they tend to go towards these weird, surreal, kind of abstract type things. And there's a lot of that in student films. And of course, this is similar to what she's into. And then, of course, you get this, outside film that we're watching, which takes that and sort of expands it to a full feature length. And it's not black and white and weird music set to weird visuals type thing. It's not like that. But it is very different. It isn't straightforward linear type filmmaking. It is it is a very weird mystery, but at the same time, you kind of want to see where this is going. And honestly, the trailer doesn't give anything away, but at the same time, it doesn't really give you much either. So I can't even say go look at the trailer, and that would give you some idea of what you might be able to expect from this film. It would give you a good idea of visuals, and I will say that though it does look, I use the word unprofessional because it doesn't look like they've done a lot of post work where you're changing making everything look pretty and film-like and such. It is well shot, considering much of the film is like in darkness and at night. They, especially with micro-budget indie films like that, it's often that they don't have enough light. You can't see what's going on, and when you can see what's going on, it's the detail just isn't there. They often have a problem with detail, and sometimes that's on purpose. Don't get me wrong, sometimes that is on purpose, but for the most part it's just because it's amateurish. So they don't have that problem here. They do. I did think they had problems with sound. I did think they did have a few lighting problems here and there, but I was generally impressed that for the most part the film was well shot, in terms of being able to actually see the film and what was going on. The performances from the actors was surprisingly all right. Like, considering the subject matter that we were going through, I guess you could say I believed them. It's not a realistic film, right? Like, it's not a film that's set in the real. It's very weird. It's very if you've seen Jacob's Ladder, that would be like a big budget version of kind of the surrealness that I'm speaking of here. Yeah, it's weird. I found myself wanting to watch this film and see it through, and wanted to find out what all these little weird quirks are and what was the scream, where unravel the mystery. Essentially, I found myself wanting that, but at the same time, I think the movie is like under an hour and 20 minutes, and I found myself like kind of feeling it was dragging. Like, I felt it was a little long. So it's weird that those two things would kind of coexist in the same film, wanting to watch more and at the same time finding that there's too much. I don't know. It's a weird feeling, but I did find both of those aspects hitting me while I was watching this film. At first, I wasn't really into it. At first, I like a good portion of the beginning, I wasn't really into it. I thought it was looking cheap. I thought, what am I getting myself into? This just looks like somebody went out and shot this thing, grabbed a camera like I have here and grabbed a couple of friends and essentially went out at night and shot it with, no budget, no nothing, which essentially that's kind of what it is. But at the same time, once I got past that feeling of, wow, anybody could make this, then you start getting into the bizarreness of it, and I guess kind of the writers, Justin DeClue was also a writer on the film, and Nate Wilson was the other one. Both of them involved with the Teddy bomb, and it's I think Nate has done a bunch of short films. I think some of them may have played at Toronto After Dark. I think maybe Justin's done some short films too and played, but you get the sense that these guys went to film school. You do get that I don't know if they did. Probably did. They may have gone to film school in Toronto. I don't know. But you kind of get that sense behind it, because there are things in this film when you're watching it, you're just like, well, here's the thing. If you've never been to film school, you probably wouldn't see these things, just these concepts and ideas, because they do tend to come up with, even when you're talking with so-called cinephiles and such, who, you know, think they are the be-all and end-all of what, film is, right? Instead of just, knowing what makes good and what makes bad. They tend to think that, certain things are garbage, even though, like, they could say, like, Citizen Kane is garbage, and they'll try and back it up and go with it, but it'll be like, but most of the rest of the world doesn't agree with you, and they'd be like, well, the rest of the world is stupid. You get that kind of mentality. There's a lot of that when you go to film school, of people who think they're kind of higher and mightier, and they tend to do really, really weird things. Now, I'm not saying Justin and Nate are of that sort, but having been exposed to that and that kind of mentality, you get things in Impossible Horror that I saw from film students, that I saw in their films, and I don't know if possibly that Justin and Nate were trying to kind of poke fun at that, because there is some humor in this film. So I'm kind of wondering if it's more of the I hate those guys, so I'm gonna kind of poke fun at them at the same time. I don't know, but I did. There's definitely a film school thing going on with this. Now, if I had to rate the film, how would I rate the film? I'd probably give it a 2 out of 5. Technically, it is not there. It just isn't. It didn't have the budget. It's one of those things. Honestly, it's not a film you can recommend. It would be very, as much as I kind of enjoyed it, I don't know. It's see, this is a hard film to really relate to. It's the film has a sense of a coldness to it. It takes place a lot at night. They're out, and I'm guessing it was probably later on in the year, probably a little bit chilly. I don't think it was spring. It was probably closer to fall, maybe. And I think it was, at night it was a little bit chillier. I could be wrong. But I was getting the sense of it being a little colder. it's oh man, it's just such a weird film. I can't recommend it, but at the same time, I kind of want to, because I want people to experience this film. I want people to see it, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of people would enjoy it. And this is where I'm kind of torn with this one, because it has a lot of elements that I like. But because of the nature of the film and the type of film it is and the way it, the low budget nature of the film, there's not a lot to give to general audiences. Now, that being said, if you consider yourself a horror aficionado or a cinephile, you're not just into slasher films or ghost stories or stuff like that, this may be something you would be interested in checking out. This may be something that would be right up your alley. Honestly, it's one of those films that the nature of it could easily, warrant a sequel or even like a prequel or something like that. But it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Not unless these guys make $1 billion and decide to revisit it and go back to their roots type thing. Yeah, it's a film I want to watch again. I'll just put it that way. It's a film I want to watch again that I wouldn't recommend to general audiences, but if you're looking for something different and you like bizarre mystery, something really different, impossible horror is probably that film. Again, it's not for general audiences. I could tell that coming out of the theater, a lot of people were not feeling it, and even people I talked to who are they're reviewers, they watch movies all the time. A lot of them were kind of on the fence with it. I did find some people who were kind of like me, who were like, I kind of dug that film, despite all of its its drawbacks or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, there isn't much more I can say about Impossible Horror. It's definitely different. Anyways, thanks for watching. More 31 Days of Horror 2017 to come. Toronto After Dark still going on strong, so expect more from that as well. Thanks for watching. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.